And here we are. It always takes a few minutes to get Instagram to be friendly with StreamYard for these live events. Welcome to Tuesday Tales. I was away last week making some of my own tales on an adventure with my daughter at Special Olympics and a little vacation. So I feel really kind of out of it today, not in the groove, but I am here um, showing you how to use storytelling in your business and doing that by introducing you to some really fabulous entrepreneurs. So today I have a different guest each week. And today I am going to introduce you to the marketing sparkler, Miss Kemya. And I'm going to ask her about both of those things, both the name and what makes her sparkle today. She is a powerhouse of knowledge and expertise around marketing, both for brick and mortar businesses and online businesses, using the power of online rock solid presence. And so we're going to dig into that a little bit. Welcome, Kemya.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. I've been wanting to get you on for a while, so I'm glad that we got connected on this. So, I always love to throw people under the bus right at the beginning of the interview by not talking about your business and asking who you are outside of work. Who is Miss Kemya?
Yes, I am a coffee drinking, nap taking wife, mother to humans and dogs. I'm a Northeasterner, blizzard baby. I
Love it.
love to binge Netflix. I love to eat and enjoy life, take long walks, ride my bike.
Awesome. Now I have to ask you because you mentioned blizzards. I always tell people I am a four-season Canadian because I love winter. Do you bear the winter or do you actually like to get outside in the snow?
I absolutely love the winter, but I love it for different reasons. I love it because I love the fall and winter for the fashion. I love coats and boots and scarves.
Oh, you're me. Oh my goodness. Sweater weather.
That's why I really love winter. That's the real reason I love winter.
Yes, me too. I have so many sweaters and coats and yep,
Hmm.
that's me. That's me all over. Awesome. And you have some furry friends, dogs?
Yes, I have two little furry friends, my grandbabies, as I call them, because that's how I treat them. You know that cliche, you treat the grandbabies, they can do no wrong. Yes, they can do no wrong. So
All the
yes,
things that you can't do with your children, you do with your grandchildren, right? So
absolutely.
you do that with your
Yes.
dogs.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
fantastic.
I do. They're a spoiled.
That's so good. So tell me three things that are the most important to you in life.
Definitely my family. I spend loads of time with my family. I love being in a house with my family and enjoying experiences with my family. Something else very important. Other things very important to me are, um, oh gosh, being able to have the freedom to work from home. That is important to me. Of course, the business is important, but I value the freedom above it all because I can set my own schedule. I can set my own timelines and create my own opportunities. And perhaps the most important related to freedom is I don't have to wake up to an alarm clock. And
Yes.
right. And the third thing is really important to me is taking time to do the things that I want to do. Oftentimes, adults are so busy adulting and being mature and doing all the things that you're supposed to do that they don't really enjoy their time on a daily basis, enjoy what they do every day. And for me, that is immensely valuable, which is why I have a business and I work from home. Because if you can't spend the majority of your time on your own terms doing what you love, you'll wind up being miserable. And so
Well,
that is very important to me, my peace and
absolutely.
my sanity and the value of my time and owning that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that was a lesson that I learned much too late in life that looking
Same.
after yourself is not selfish, right? It's
Yes,
actually it makes you better to be able to give to other people and I can
exactly.
just say just having come off this vacation with my daughter, spent a lot of time in like Midway, carnival games and rides
Mm,
and what do you call them? Go-karts and all the things that she loves.
yes.
She helps keep me in that kind of childlike
Yes.
space in the world. And so I
Yes.
appreciate her for that so much because I just let loose and do all those things that I wouldn't do if she wasn't around. So,
Yes. Oh, I love it. That's why I still watch cartoons. Like
oh,
it's
yeah.
it's little things I still doodle. I watch cartoons. It's those types of things that adults don't allow themselves the freedom to enjoy.
Yes.
I allow myself that time. I
Yeah.
giggle and I watch goofy comedies that you would never think I watch, and I watch cartoons and I look out the window and look at the sun for 10 minutes doing absolutely nothing with myself. Like that's because that's what kids do. But it's that childlike wonder and just that youthfulness that really helps you throughout the day because you're not so focused and stressed on whatever the thing is you're supposed to be doing. So
Yes.
I do something like that every single day.
That's amazing. I wish I could say I do it every day. I do it regularly. And I think I probably get a chance to do some of that because I walk my dogs
Mhm.
faithfully every day, twice a day.
Mhm.
So I get outside and I get to just take in that natural
Yes.
wonder of the world. But it really is great to just stop and kind of take stock of what's around you, right? And just appreciate all of those
Yes.
things. So good for you. Lots of great lessons here already. So now tell my audience what it is that you do in your business.
So you know how when you're running a business, you oftentimes see so many shiny objects, you don't know which one to gravitate toward next because everybody makes everything sound like the magic pill. I'm the person that gets rid of the shiny object syndrome for you. So I eliminate those faux magic pills and I help people create customized marketing strategies for their businesses so they stop chasing the shiny objects and instead just wake up every day knowing what they need to do to market their businesses. And so no matter what other tools, tactics, techniques, etc., come about, you're not really confused because you have a plan. You can experiment with things, but you have a core plan and strategy that you use on a day-to-day basis to market your business. So that's what I create and help people do.
Awesome. I love that. So I'd like to ask you two things about that. One is
Mhm.
how does how do you work with brick and mortar businesses as opposed to online businesses? Do you encourage brick and mortar, for example, to do online marketing the same as an online company would? How do you handle that difference?
It totally depends on what the business is. So I typically work with coaches, speakers, authors, and consultants. That's the majority of people online. But if you have a brick and mortar, you can be one of the above, or you can be selling products. It could be e-commerce. You could be a medical doctor. So for me, the strategy comes into play based on the type of business you run. You can use all different types of strategies, but I look at the type of business and then from there I figure out how to best market. So if it's a brick and mortar medical doctor versus an online business coach, those
Yes.
strategies may be different, but oftentimes there'll be a lot of overlap because social media is going to play a role in those things. But there are, of course, other things all businesses can take advantage of. It just depends on in terms of the percentages of effort you give from a marketing perspective, what your business is, what you like, what you don't like, and who you're trying to attract.
Right. And I would say in this day and age, I'm guessing, but I'm asking you for confirmation that it's just as important for a brick and mortar business to have an online presence, be it on, Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or LinkedIn or somewhere, as it is for an online business, because that's kind of how people find everyone now. Am I right in that?
Absolutely. No matter who
Yeah.
you are, the first thing we do when we need something is we either go to Google or we go to a social media platform. So
Yeah.
if you're not using social media in your brick and mortar business, you are 100% relying on foot traffic. And we all know that's not enough to sustain a business just waiting and guessing how many random people will walk past your door and walk in. That really doesn't
Yes.
work in terms of a revenue generation. So, absolutely, every business today
Oh, we lost your signal there for a sec. I'm just going to wait till you come back, Hemya. You're frozen on my screen. No, there
Am
we
I here?
are. Okay, we
Oh,
just lost your signal. You were
okay.
just saying that we can't rely on foot traffic. Do you want to just expand on that?
Absolutely. I mean, particularly for a brick and mortar business, oftentimes physical locations, they're so focused on the surrounding area and people finding them randomly that they don't realize people are finding them randomly online, and that is what will drive the traffic to the store. Because when we
Right.
need something, we don't just leave the house and go randomly. We do our due diligence before we leave the house. We know where we're going, and so
Yes.
that's the type of traffic that you need to direct online to your brick and mortar store, and then when people are in the store, direct them to your online property so that you can continue engaging with them. So really,
Yeah.
every brick and mortar can benefit from that digital presence.
Yeah. Very good. And can you give us a tip that you could share with the audience? I know one of the things that you shared with me in our communication was that you are really committed to help people develop genuine connections rather than chasing likes and comments on social
Hmm.
media. So can you give us a tip around how you do that? What's the one of the ways that you would encourage people to do that?
Absolutely. So you can take people's engagement. Engagement is really at the heart of social media. It's called social media, right?
Yeah,
So
yes.
when it comes to social media specifically, oftentimes business owners are very thrilled with vanity metrics such as likes and hearts.
Mm-hmm.
However, likes and hearts can't pay my invoice, right? You got to make money. We're in business to make money. So you have to generate revenue. Likes and hearts
Yes.
aren't revenue. And so what you can do to build those connections and those genuine relationships with people is when people are engaging with your content, talk to them. I see so many businesses leave their audience hanging. People will comment and they don't respond. They don't even like the comment. And that is literally the simplest way to begin fostering connections and build your engagement. When people like your content, when people talk about you, when they ask you questions, simply respond. It really
Mm,
can be that simple. That's the beginning of the conversation. Respond. If they have a question, do a public response. After the public response, send them a DM. Did that, satisfy you? Are you a customer of the store or something like that? Really think about the questions that you can do to start building relationships with people. Because if they're asking questions specifically, they're interested in what you offer. And so that is a perfect time and opportunity for you to begin building a genuine connection with a future customer.
yes, I appreciate that. And I would like to just add to that too, to not use that as an opportunity to immediately sell something in a DM. That is
No,
not relationship building.
no,
That's
that's
almost as
spam.
bad as spamming.
Hmm.
People have curiosity, and I love when relationships in sales and marketing are compared to dating because it is very
Hmm.
similar, right? You don't ask somebody
Hmm.
to marry you on the first date.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. And what actually drew you into this line of work, Kemya?
I believe it or not, I'm one of those people. I'm a marketer by trade. I actually went to school for marketing. I didn't just stumble into it. So I was doing marketing before social media. And when social media came along, online marketing came along, I just added that to my repertoire. And it took me a while to embrace it, but I embrace it. And that's why I can do traditional marketing offline, but then I also do online because that is historically what I always did. There was no online, but that's how
Right.
I fell into it. Just being a marketer by trade.
Okay. And I think there's a great appreciation that I have for that, and I hope that other people will realize too that there are lots of people out there who do social media marketing, but being that you have a marketing background is just
Hmm.
that solid base really to build it on, rather
Yes.
than you know, the likes and the hearts and stuff like that
Yes.
people out there can actually help you generate that stuff, but it's not the same as that. How did you
Exactly.
phrase it before. I think you talked about having a core plan. So that, like,
Yes.
that's marketing language, right? That's
Yes.
somebody who actually really knows what marketing is. And
Yes.
so, besides having taken marketing in school,
Hmm.
what other experience do you have in life or in business that you actually think helps bring out the best in you in what you do now?
I loved marketing and branding before I knew what it was. That's
That's
at the
awesome.
heart of what I've always liked, to be perfectly honest. That's why I'm still doing it after so many years. It's just that's the part I always loved. I always loved the psychology of color theory. I always liked brand design. I always liked logos. I always liked visual aesthetics. I liked merchandising. Like I liked all the things that I didn't know what they were called. And so once I found out what they were called, I'm like, oh, that's what it is. That's what I like. So that's what makes it such a strong suit for me. It's always been there.
Wow. Yeah. And that's, again, I think that's kind of rare, right? I
Mhm,
know I say to people a lot that I call myself a Jack or a Jill of all trades, master of none. And
mhm,
there was a time in my life where I felt very kind of insecure about that because I didn't
mhm,
have that passion from the very beginning.
mhm,
And it's rare to find someone who actually does have that passion and stick with it, right? For
mhm,
many, many years. I've kind of come to realize that there's this kind of melting pot of all of these different things that I bring into my business now. So that's actually kind of fun. Um,
yes.
but I think it is really rare to find someone, from high school or whatever who
Mhm,
goes into post-secondary education and then continues on in that trade. So kudos to you. That is amazing.
mhm.
That's amazing. Now I have to ask you, because I love this fact about you that you go by the name of Miss Kemya. So tell us about that. How has that name come about, and why does that feel um like a brand to you?
Yes. When I started using social media, I started with all the platforms within about a month of each other: Twitter, Facebook, and I think it may have been LinkedIn. Okay, so when I started all of those, I had to figure out what the handle would be. And so LinkedIn is your government name, as I call it. Okay, I needed something for Facebook and I needed something for Twitter. Well, my name being Kemya Scott, I'm like, okay, well, it's a name, but it didn't like wow me. I'm like, okay, my handle can be Kemya Scott, but that's just my name. That's not a brand. That's not an identity. That's not a company name, any of that. And I was like, okay, so what else could it be? So I came up with Miss Kemya for Twitter. Okay, so Twitter happened to be my favorite platform at the time once I started using them all. And the reason I stuck with the brand name Miss Kemya is because when I would go places, that's who I was known as. Oh, there's Miss Kemya because that was my Twitter handle. So my audience cemented Miss Kemya as my brand name because that was my Twitter handle and that was the moniker they gave me. They don't call me Kemya Scott when I walked in the room, where they didn't say, hey, Kemya. They said, hey, there's Miss Kemya, because they identified me with my Twitter handle.
I
So
love
that's
that.
how my brand name stuck all these years later.
Yeah, and good for you on that. I wish I had done something that original because it's like Cher or Prince, or
Yes,
it's
yes,
a name that you remember, right?
yes.
Because it is different. It's not a typical first and last name. And so I love
Exactly.
that. And then I also have to ask you about marketing Sparkler. So where does the sparkle come from? What's the story behind that?
So that was not the name of my company originally. And I had a company name. My original company name was Fiscal Marketing. I'm from Philadelphia. So everything that sounds like we spell with a PH, right? So it was
Yeah.
spelled PHISCO. I came up with that name in 95. So years later, I go online. People had so much trouble saying it. Everybody saw psycho marketing. They didn't see fiscal marketing, they saw psycho, because that's just the way people would transpose letters and add letters that weren't there, all kind of stuff, right?
That could be a
And
cool brand.
so, yes, it could be if it was my brand, but fiscal
Yes.
actually was an acronym for something previous that I did. And
Yeah.
that's always going to be me. But the problem, and this goes for so many people, it doesn't matter what you love if the people can't figure it out. And people tell me, oh, well, we didn't know what a Google was. Okay, but you're not Google. I'm not playing that game. If the people can't figure out how to pronounce your company name, that means they can't spell it. If they can't spell it, they can't type it in to find you. And so after many years, I decided I need to change this. And so just figuring out how to keep marketing in, because that's what I do, but thinking about my personality. I'm always laughing. I love to laugh. I love to smile. I love to laugh. And just bringing different elements of my personality in, wordsmithed a bunch of things, and Marketing Sparkler came to being. But that's really how it came to being, is because people have to be able to spell your company name and be able to say it properly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if they're talking about you, if no matter how great you think I am, if you're telling your friend about psycho marketing and that's not my company name, it doesn't help me, right? But
Wow.
that's how it came to being, is because
Yeah.
everybody, for whatever reason, everybody saw psycho. I still don't know how, but it doesn't matter how. They did. I
Well,
said, okay, this doesn't work.
it's a funny thing that you say though about how people will like add letters or take letters out, right?
Yes.
It's kind of, and again, this is a great lesson for people listening. As you said, it doesn't matter what resonates with you. It is what resonates with your audience, what people
Mhm.
understand. Um, we do the simplest thing. And so the simplest thing, if you look at that word and you
Mhm.
just, transform
Yes.
the I to a Y and you add a
Yes.
C, that's a word that I already know. And so that's the
Yes.
simplest way that people's
Yes.
brains are going to kind of access that information, right? And it,
Exactly.
again, could be a fun exercise for somebody if they're a little bit, out there
Yes.
on the edge and they want to have a psycho marketing company. That could be a lot of
Mhm.
fun for them. But you're
Yes.
right. That doesn't match your personality. Sparkle is much better.
Yes. Yes. And the other thing is, my name is Kemya. So I'm literally throwing things at people that they have no idea. Most people have never met a Kemya. And so
Yes.
they're already gonna call me Kenya. So I'm like, okay, so they're gonna mess up my government name, they're gonna mess up my company name. That's not gonna work. Like, something
Yes.
has to give, and it can't be my government name. I'm keeping that. So something has to change. It has to be the company name. But if you think about that, that's it. They're saying psycho marketing and they're saying Kenya Scott. Who's that?
Yeah.
I don't
And
know who
how
that
would they
is.
ever find you?
How
Right.
would you ever find me? So I'm like,
Yeah.
between the two of them, something has to give. So
Yeah.
that's how that
Or
happened.
again, even with how people's minds work, thinking of Kenya, they might come up with like Nairobi, right? Like
Yes.
if you're
Yes.
trying to think of something, right? And like
Yes.
I remember seeing a joke years ago, and it was based on, I'm trying to think of the TV show. Um man, I can't think of it, but it was about I think it was like a black family who lived in Chicago and the mother's name was Florida. And
Mm.
and there was this kind of this joke I saw, and I don't remember if it was like on Saturday Night Live or where it was, and it was like giving people all of these different names of all the states in the United States as
Yes.
their first name.
Yes.
So I was thinking that could happen very easily, right? If somebody saw
Yes.
Kenya, they could automatically just be like, oh, it was some African
Yes.
country. I'm going to put a
Exactly.
different name in there. So very
Completely
good.
that they make up a whole story that has nothing to do with me. Exactly.
Absolutely. So such good lessons in marketing right there.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So it makes me feel a little more secure in the fact that I just named my business myself, because
Yes.
then people can't get tripped up on that one.
Yes.
So one of the things I love to do at the end of these little live broadcasts that I do is make up a story for you that you might be able to use in your business to connect with your audience. So I wonder if there is a story about maybe something that happened recently to you that was humorous, or maybe kind of didn't rub you the right way, or something, a pivotal moment in your life. If there's a little story of something that you can share.
Yes. A pivotal moment. And this is a story I often share with people of how I got to social media.
Hmm.
And I shared this story because to this day, so many business owners think social media isn't for them. And I still run into those types of people every day, or they think, for example, TikTok is just for kids and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I try to share with people how I got to social media. So I start with I came kicking and screaming. I came kicking and screaming as a person in marketing. I was not blogging and I was not on social media. And I had friends who were pretty, well-known marketers. And they would keep saying, Kimmy, why aren't you on social media? Why aren't you on social media? And I would go to events, not on social media, not blogging, not doing any of those things. I was kind of just browsing, but oh, that's a fad. I don't want to be bothered, all those types of things, normal things business owners, rebel. And I came kicking and screaming. People would, why don't you have a profile on LinkedIn? I want to connect with you. No, I don't want to be there. I'm looking for you on here. Nope, I'm not there. And I tell people I came kicking and screaming. And the only reason that I gave in is because my high school, they were looking for me and they were Googling, and my name was popping up all over the place because of things I was doing. And so they found different email addresses for me and they emailed me. They found the right ones and said, Kenya, will you please join Facebook so that we can connect with you? And that's literally why I joined social media. And I tell people that because as a marketer, people naturally assume that everything is easy and simple for marketers. It is not. We kick and scream and fight just like you do. We don't want to do the stuff just like you don't want to do the stuff. But that's why I tell people that so that they don't have to feel like, oh, if they're talking to me, oh, this is easy, oh, this is simple. No, it's not, because I'm not one of those social media babies. Social media didn't exist when any of us were born. And so I often tell people that it's like, it's okay if you think TikTok is for kids. It's okay if you don't want to do, dancing videos. I get all of that. Even though I'm a marketer, I'm not telling you to do any of that. And I understand your apprehension. However, this is how I got to social media. And ever since then, I've been using it little by little to grow my brand. And it's okay to start with one platform, get your feet wet. It's okay if you don't like all of the platforms, but you still, as a business owner, you have to try and experiment with things that you haven't historically done in order to reach new audiences. But when I tell people that, I can, particularly when I'm speaking, I can see the walls come down. I can see them like, oh, I'm like, oh, I came kicking and screaming. And they're like, what? But
Yeah.
I feel like people think of marketers as just always excited about this stuff. No, we are not. We are not. I promise you, we are not all gung ho about every platform that comes into play. We are not gung ho about dancing on videos and shooting videos all day and posting all day. We are not. We're just like everybody else. We just happen to work in this industry. And so that's a story I often tell people who are not familiar with me, but just know me as a marketer. Because if you look me up and you see how long I've been doing stuff, you're going to put walls up because you think I'm not relatable. You think I don't understand your frustrations. And I'm here to tell you, yes, I do.
Yes. Awesome. Well, I have to tell you, that's going to be hard for me to make a story out of that because you already have a story because you're a marketing expert. So let me see if I can think of an angle that you haven't thought of before.
Yes.
So that you can share that in another way. Um, yeah, I guess what I would suggest maybe as a way that you could frame that story up a little differently is whether it's on social media or whether it's from stage when you're talking, is to share that story about, I have this background in marketing. I studied that in school. I came kicking and screaming into this business, and I and then I would suggest that maybe you spin that in a way that says when there's a new platform that comes out, when there is a new fad, when there is something that you're uncomfortable with, remember that I have been through all of those phases, and
Mm-hmm.
I've got the experience to actually be able to let you know if it's worth your while to invest in a new platform, to
Mm-hmm.
invest in a new idea, because I come with all of this experience and I came with all the same self-doubt that you had.
Mm-hmm. I
Maybe
love
that's
that.
an maybe that's another spin
Yeah,
that you could put on it, just to kind of
absolutely.
add that experience behind that
Yes.
story. But again, that's the toughest story that I've had to create for someone
Oh,
on the show, because you're already a pro at this stuff. So I appreciate your time so much. We are 1 minute past 5:30 already, so I want to let you go,
wow.
Kemya. Yes, I
That went
want to.
fast.
I know, didn't it? I want to ask, what's the best way for people to find you? I see that you've got at Miss Kemya as your screen name. Is
Hmm.
that where you are on all social platforms?
Pretty much. You can find me that way on LinkedIn. I am Kemya Scott. But you can always either look for Miss Kemya or go to marketingsparkler.com. That has everything and more, all of my handles, my blog, all kind of stuff there. So you can always, if you're not sure about the Miss Kemi, you can always go to marketingsparkler.com, and there's tons of resources there for small business owners as well. So that's the
There
easiest
is, and
place
I
to
have
keep
to
in touch.
say, if you want to get on her newsletter, I get great tips from her on a regular basis. So
Thank
I really
you.
thank you for joining me as my guest today, Miss Kemya. It's been such a pleasure as I've gotten to know you more and more over the last few years. I really appreciate you being here. And I want to just share with the audience that stories really do help create those meaningful connections, as Miss
Mhm.
Kemya just illustrated, sharing her story about kicking and screaming into the world of social media marketing. There is science-based data that actually shows how our brain is wired for storytelling. So if you want to learn more about storytelling, keep tuning in to Tuesday Tales, and you'll see how I show people how to use stories in their business. You can also check out my storytelling course in my bio link. So thanks so much for joining today, and I will see you again next week.
Thank you.